No, not good. Not good. Not happy. This is not happy.
What are we doing here?
What do you mean?
Like, why are we? What are we do? Why would he do? Why does it say post series?
I don't. It's because the series is over. It's the 3-game drubbing that we just experienced at the hands of the Dodgers. Are you confused? What? Can I help you? Can I explain something?
What?
You all right?
What?
Huh?
They didn't. No. There's no. The D-backs haven't played baseball for like 3 days, right?
No, they really haven't. They really have not played baseball
for 3 days. Played any kind of baseball for the last 3 days.
Is very true. That is very true. Welcome into the PHNX D-backs podcast right here on PHNX. My name is Derek Montilla, and in less than 48 hours, I will once again be your mayor of PHNX. This man next to me, he doesn't need a sash. He's Mr. Electric all the time. It's the one and only Shawn. And you kind of broke him, Diamondbacks. You broke him with your offense. You broke him with everything that you did tonight. The Diamondbacks tonight suffered one of their worst losses. I think series losses, not just tonight, because that would be some sort of record to have a series loss in one night like this. But this 3-game series was arguably one of the worst losses of the year. Damon brought up the Minnesota Twins series, which I would say was also a thorough ass-kicking as well. The Mets series, yeah.
But this one feels so much fucking worse.
This one feels so much worse. The Diamondbacks offense scored 1 run over the final 23 innings of this series. Now, I don't need to do the math for you there, but the 3-game series is 27 innings typically, so that's a lot of it that they spent not scoring runs. But let's take a look at the numbers. I don't really want to. You don't want to. I know you don't want to.
God.
But we're going to do it anyway. This is the numbers for this series.
They don't deserve to have those numbers in purple, Damon.
Yeah, no, can we they need to be in sand. It needs to be in sand, not even
sand.
Sedona red.
No, make them like the exact shade of dark gray that those shitty away jerseys were in.
Maybe even put them in the gradient pattern from a few years ago. Can we do that? The Diamondbacks got out hit 20-38 in this series. Dodgers played fairly flawless baseball there. The Diamondbacks usually, and Damon brought this up too, usually when we're doing this graphic, win or lose, the Diamondbacks are usually the ones that are at least winning that battle of the errors. And in this case, nothing went right for the Diamondbacks in this series, and everything seemed to go right for the Dodgers. I mean, when it came to these hits falling in, when it came to everything going on in this series, like they just were flawless. But when you look at the pitching ERA, 2.81 for their starters, 0.00 for their relievers, it's pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, Diamondbacks got their ass kicked. What else is there really to say? The Dodgers were better in literally every single statistical category.
Yeah, in every possible
way. Both tangible, intangible. They were cooler. They were more likable. They were sexier. They drove faster cars.
This is the Corbin Carroll. Yeah, the Corbin Carroll defense.
They were better in every single way. Yeah. And I mean, I was kind of talking about this with Damon the other day. I feel like baseball doesn't get talked about in this sense, but it just kind of feels like there's 3 teams that are going to win World Series. It doesn't really feel like this is just the Dodgers are just better than everybody, and and also it's getting close to the playoffs. It's about time they start taking this seriously and kicking everyone's ass. Susie, I'm with you. I also hate the Dodgers.
We also hate the Dodgers, but we love you.
Susie, I also want to say, this is just for Susie, the pictures of the fish getting an MRI on your Instagram story is genuinely some of the funniest content I've ever seen in my entire life. So follow Susie on Instagram. But
I need to see this.
Oh my God. I don't know if it's still on her story.
Don't pull it up right now. We'll do it later.
It was so good. It was in a little sponge. It was awesome. It was awesome. But
me and Susie are going to go to WrestleMania in Philly next year, by the way.
When are we doing a show in a pool?
Wow. I don't know.
She did a show in a pool.
She did a show in a pool?
From her pool, yeah. You didn't see that the other day?
From her pool?
Yeah.
In what world, Susie? Is that okay?
I'm saying, when is ours?
I don't know. I need to get that. I need to make that happen. We should do it from the pool at Chase Field at some point. We need to do it. That's electric.
Off-season show I've ever heard one.
I mean, come on. Let's go. But let's talk, of course. I mean, one thing about that graphic is the pitching was horrible, but the starting pitching in this
our
series,
starting
our
pitching
starting
was
pitching
Their
was
pitching
awful
was the best in
series.
baseball.
Yeah. Starting pitching was just atrocious in this series. Brandon Pfaadt today had some pitches working for him early, but things backed up on him quickly. He gives up 4 runs in the third, 2 more in the fourth. Much like Zach Gallen, much like Merrill Kelly, I mean, even a guy that comes into here playing good baseball, once again, kind of reverts back to, kind of this lesser form of themselves against the Dodgers. The D-backs starting pitching in this 3-game series went 14 and a third, gave up 29 hits, 19 runs, 18 of them earned, 8 walks, 8 strikeouts. Brandon Pfaadt's portion of it, 4 innings pitched, 8 hits, 6 runs, 5 earned, 2 walks, 4 strikeouts. Just flat out bad. Flat out bad.
No,
offense was bad. Pitching was bad. I mean, and honestly, the relief pitching is probably the one place that we weren't absolutely terrible. But like Thunderbolt said, pathetic 0 offense. And really it was some pathetic offense. Like I said, the offense scored 1 run over the final 23 innings of the series. That's just
the Dodgers are just they're always there. They're the forever impenetrable force. It's just like it's defeating. It just is like, what are you gonna do? It almost, in a way, it's almost like this is gonna maybe an all-time spin zone. Like it's almost encouraging in the sense that it's like, that's the Dodgers, dog. Like we were supposed to lose these games. Everything went wrong. Let's just now we can get back to playing real baseball. That's the Dodgers.
Or at least meaningful games against teams that we have a chance against.
Yeah,
but it's like what you said, going back to the whole World Series concept or idea here, right? As much as we want to be the disruptor that comes in here and thinks that we can beat the Dodgers or beat the Braves.
This series suggests that.
Nothing about this series suggests that.
That being said, I would say that right now the Dodgers better than you taking the Dodgers over the Braves right now?
Right now, yeah, with the way they've been playing in August and the way that this is spilling over into September.
Sure. So
this is historically good the way they are right now.
Yeah. You're gonna have to beat this team if you want to accomplish anything.
Well, not necessarily. Not necessarily.
I guess
this team needs to get beat. But I mean, if the Diamondbacks are able to make it past the wild card round, then chances are.
What I was gonna say though is the Braves are a very good team. And we've seen the D-backs compete against them. This was just, maybe this was just bad timing.
They own us.
They do own us. What are we supposed to do, dog? It's the Los Angeles Dodgers. They beat us every time.
The Braves, there's no mental thing that's going on with the Braves
I said yesterday. What did I say yesterday? I was like, if we win 1 game out of the 3, it feels like we won the series.
My best frenemy, Mo Schubert, said the D-backs have now lost 36 of their last 42 games at Dodger Stadium. Ouchie. Yeah. It's literally like they go in there and
nightmare.
It's like their version of Yankee Stadium for the AL East back in the day. And I know you hate that reference, but you know what I mean?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Where it is a situation where somehow just playing in that stadium is intimidating to the other teams. Like I said, though, from a few years ago, from years ago,
from
pre-2000. No,
what are you talking about?
Oh, come on.
2012 Fenway?
You might not. Yeah. Well, that too. Yeah. There you go. You can have that one. I'll let you have that one. Regardless, the Diamondbacks right now are not very good against the Dodgers, and I think that kind of goes into the larger point of, the playoffs are anybody's game, right? Once you get there, and it depends on how things fall. Right?
Unless it's the Diamondbacks playing at Dodger Stadium, then it is the Dodgers game.
Correct, right? But I'm just saying,
no.
Like the Phillies last year, again, they are that.
We could get lucky and not have to play them.
You just get lucky. You just have the things fall into play in a certain way.
It almost feels like you could have a team that's not the Los Angeles Dodgers have the 9 greatest baseball players of all time, and you would rather play that team than play the Los Angeles Dodgers in the postseason.
Ina Jackson said, "Why don't we walk Freddie Freeman? That's the best strategy." I mean,
doesn't matter.
Really, it doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
Anybody, they're all going to do. Miguel Rojas doesn't hit 9 times in the lineup, so
because then Jason Hayward, who's
going to
piss on it, like he did multiple times this series.
All of a sudden, he's who he was supposed to be when he was coming up as a prospect.
All of them. Every single player is better than they were on their last team. Find me a player that's gotten worse since they got in the Los Angeles Dodgers. Mookie Betts was the best player in baseball, and he somehow got better on the Los Angeles Dodgers.
Yeah,
fucking Freddie Freeman was one of the best first basemen in baseball, and he somehow got better when he got to the Los Angeles Dodgers.
Yeah.
It makes Clayton Kershaw's 80 years old, and for the first half of the season, he was a Cy Young candidate. What is going on?
I put on a Dodger jersey one time, and I was better. Like just for that like really short period of time. I lost weight.
Have you ever put on a Dodgers jersey?
Never. I never will. But
Yeah.
I bet you it would make me like super handsome and like
It's
have like
fucking
so
ridiculous.
much rizz, bro.
Yeah, it's crazy.
You'd be like you'd just be
Crazy.
a better person.
Yeah. I told you guys, I found the first photo of my first baseball game, and it was at Dodger Stadium.
Yeah.
Made me sick. Made me sick to see the photo. Made me sick. But anyway, speaking of things that make people sick, home plate umpire Alex Tosi makes Christian Walker sick.
Oh
In
my
fact, Christian Walker might still be staring at Alex Tosi right now, who absolutely sucked tonight. I mean, let's be honest. This man,
I want to fist fight the dude.
He called one of the most inconsistent strike zones. It was infuriating because, again, I try to always tell people about that deceptive ass bumper that they show on game day, that if the ball does land there, it can be a strike or a ball, and they're not really going to like charge the umpire with making a bad call. But his inconsistency tonight was just absurd when it came to the calls that Brandon Pfaadt wasn't getting.
I want to
versus
fight him.
the calls
as
that
do
the
I.
Dodgers were getting.
I want to fight him.
No, I'm ready to fight him.
I hate him.
And look, they don't even want to fight you for the big Ben Ford Bronco SUV. They just want to fight you just
because you need to get your ass kicked.
just because you kind of deserve it.
I mean,
but-
yeah, I've said this before. Your strike zone can be literally whatever it wants. It could be the entire stadium, but as long as it's consistent, I don't give a shit.
for both teams and for the entire night.
Yeah, and it simply was not that. I mean, it started early when Lourdes kind of got screwed when he tried to call time, and it just simply was not granted for some reason.
That was so odd. Yeah, and
Don't know
then
what was going on there.
Kind of had to stay there.
Yeah, and then
take a
obviously
strike.
Christian Walker had multiple run-ins with the home plate umpire.
Yeah.
And that's bullshit.
Yeah.
Like it's been a thing all year, man. Like it's and I'm not going to sit here and pretend there's some giant conspiracy against the Arizona Diamondbacks. I just think
It's just bad
obviously-
officiating.
I think obviously we're going to notice more when it's against the D-backs, not for the D-backs, right? But I think by and large, umpiring just has been bad in Major League Baseball this year.
But
It's been really bad.
we still notice when it's in the Diamondbacks' favor as
no,
well.
we do.
Like,
I just don't. They
We're
don't
just
stick with us.
Yeah,
as
you're
long.
not going to be hearing us
Yeah.
complain about it here in the show.
Yeah, and Thunderbolt is complaining, and this is something that Damon was getting on about, and I am right behind him on. Christian Walker needed to get his ass tossed in that situation.
Yeah.
Light a fire under this fucking team.
I mean,
or go out
game-
there, Torey, defend your fucking player and get your ass tossed. Somebody do something.
This game was the equivalent to having Jose Herrera come in and throw at one point. This game was the equivalent of replacing Christian Walker at first base in the middle of a Dodgers series at Dodger Stadium. Like Christian Walker needs to play every inning of every game in this series, unless he gets thrown out.
The game
And
was over.
He needed.
They
to
were
get
down
thrown
7-0. Get your ass tossed and try and get something going.
It was
Take something out of
frankly
the series.
hilarious. The man did not stop barking at the umpire, even when he was out on defense at first base.
I will say,
In between innings, it was impressive.
yeah, Christian Walker definitely could have gotten animated if he wanted to, but he definitely wasn't quiet. Like, I had said I wouldn't have been mad if he had gotten tossed. Like, I think he did. He probably did enough to get tossed. But
Yeah. Carlos says, I just wanted to get called both ways, man. Pfaadt was getting squeezed, and that's absolutely the case.
Yeah.
And not only that, but like it's just odd to me because why do you need to give the Dodgers any more of an advantage?
I mean, Maria's right.
Like,
It's not why they lost the game at all.
it's absolutely not.
But
no, it's absolutely not. That's a good point.
Regardless, like
The Diamondbacks weren't able to do anything even with
and
a wider strike.
And also, again,
strike zone.
not to like sit on the fence here and say it is why they lost the game, but you also just like you don't know. Right, you don't know how the butterfly effect. If Lourdes has a real at bat in his first at bat, how that potentially changes the entire game. It's like you just want the calls made.
Yeah,
correctly.
well, like the Merrill Kelly first inning yesterday, right?
Exactly.
I mean,
Yes, exactly.
had he just gotten to first base, before Max
Yeah.
Muncy,
It's
we
a
would have
little
been that game might have been completely different than what it ended up being.
So you just want the calls to be made not even correctly, just consistently.
Yeah.
And that's why we need robot umps, because even if they're not right, they'll be consistent.
At least the
'cause they're
ABS,
robots.
the good old challenge system. But
Oh my
regardless,
God,
the Diamondbacks offense couldn't muster shit up. And that's really what it comes
Do
down
you
to.
think Major League umpires' egos can take challenges? Because I feel like if you got batters and pitchers just fucking doing this all the time and ringing them up because they're suck at their jobs and are wrong all the goddamn time, they're going to be super egotistical about it and try and squeeze you even
No,
more.
I mean, I get what you're saying. There's
I
a
hate
lot
MLB
there's a
umps.
lot of human emotion in there. It's the reason why I don't know if the ABS system will work, but I do feel like at the end of the day, it's a lot more fun and at least a lot more acceptable.
I agree.
Than going purely to a robot ump. And I can't wait to see Major League dugouts like cheering and erupting over like a call being overturned.
It's going to be like tennis.
It's going to be electric.
It's awesome.
Yeah. Tommy Pham, I mean, speaking of guys we needed to get tossed out of the game, I mean, I thought we brought Tommy
Fucking toss
here.
out of the game. You need to get arrested, homeboy.
Yeah,
Don't slap a motherfucker.
I thought that's what we brought him here for.
I want to find out that you have been put in cuffs.
I just want to see him spend an entire at bat staring at Alex Tosi, just trying to intimidate him.
Yeah.
Right? But
I would like to see him go take an at bat without a bat and just stare at the pitcher.
He did get a hit in this one, by the way, and now he's hit safely in 18 of his last 20 games as a Diamondback. So, again, not a lot of guys on the team were doing it for this for the Diamondbacks right now, but Tommy Pham has been consistently doing it. Speaking of another guy that's been consistently doing it, it's our guy that is our King Snake. Tonight, now, maybe now, then, and forever. It's
once and future
one and
king.
over, one and only Corbin Carroll, making that. Look at that catch. Look at that catch.
The once and
full
yeah.
extension.
I mean, obviously this game did not go well, but in this moment, I was like, "Oh, this is not going to go well."
Yeah,
like I thought. I was, at that moment, it was like, "Oh boy,"
and it did.
Here we go.
It
did. It was a here we go. Just it took a little longer to get there.
Yep.
But yeah, man, Corbin's really good at baseball, and I think some of us maybe might have gotten a little scared there during his dark times.
Yeah, during his dark days.
There was maybe some talk about him maybe not being a generational talent. I think it was just an idea that got tossed around a little bit, but
by one person on this podcast, and we don't really need to go into who that was.
We don't. But
right.
it's fine.
It absolutely was not me.
No, it was not you. Was it?
No, definitely not. If that's what is
sure
being
it was this guy
implied
next
here.
to me.
No, I'm not implying anybody or anything.
It's fine. We don't need to incriminate anybody. But last 10 games, let's go with these numbers. Hitting .417 with 2 doubles, 2 triples, 2 homers, and 6 RBI. He also has 5 walks. Corbin is back. And again, talking about not everybody can do it, but we definitely need Corbin because he is such a big part of this team that they aren't going to be able to do much without him. We will talk about where we go from here, and we will have Jesse Friedman joining us from Dodger Stadium in Los Angeles. But we wanted to thank you guys, of course, for being here in the PHNX Sports YouTube channel. If you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, do so now. Sign up for notifications. That way you don't miss when we go live. Leave us a thumbs up just for our own personal self-esteem. And if you're listening on the audio podcasting side, please subscribe to us there as well and leave us a review. We always appreciate that feedback. Most importantly, check out our brand new sponsor over at Splash Sports. Splash Sports is a great way to get in on weekly Survivor contests and weekly pick'ems. Right now, PHNX has a weekly Pick X and NFL Survivor contest for everyone to participate in for real money. Here's how to enter. You just head to splashsports.com/PHNX. Deposit cash to get started. It's just $5 to enter. PHNX Weekly NFL Pick X contest. You got first prize of $315, second prize of $90, third prize $45, and the PHNX Survivor contest has a $450 winner take all prize. So get down on this. We will be running these weekly contests all year, so be sure to keep that link handy. And if you want to run your own contest, and if you're tired of being the commish on leagues, chasing people down for money with none of the reward, you can sign up right now to be a commissioner right through our link and earn money for the contest you're already running with friends and family. Head to splashsports.com/PHNX to join in. We'll have different contests coming out, so we are stoked to compete with you and against you all. So be sure to click on the link in the description and let's get down. Let's splash. Let's splash.
Splish splash. I was taken aback.
Also, speaking of money, if you are a new user to BetMGM Sportsbook, right now you can get down on BetMGM's $1,500 first bet offer. You just get this offer in 4 easy steps. Download the BetMGM Sportsbook app on iOS or Android, or visit betmgm.com to sign up. Excuse me. Sign up and deposit at least $10 into your BetMGM Sportsbook account. Place your first wager and receive up to $1,500 back in bonus bets if the bet loses. If the bet does lose, your bonus bets will be available once your initial wager is settled. Again, sign up for BetMGM today and use our bonus code of PHNX. Deposit that $10. Place your first bet MGM Sportsbook wager and receive up to $1,500 back in bonus bets if it loses. Check out the show notes for full details. And now listen to Shane talk about the disclaimer.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Colorado, D.C., Illinois, Indiana, Kansas, Louisiana, Maryland, Mississippi, New Jersey, Ohio, Pennsylvania, Tennessee, Virginia, West Virginia, Wyoming. Call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369 New York. Call 1-800-327-5050 Massachusetts. 21 plus to wager. Please gamble responsibly. Call 1-800-NEXT-STEP Arizona, 1-800-522-4700 Nevada, 1-800-BETS-OFF Iowa, 1-800-270-7117 for confidential help Michigan, 1-800-981-0023 Puerto Rico in partnership with Kansas Crossing Casino and Hotel. Visit BetMGM.com for terms and conditions. U.S. promotional offers not available in D.C., Kansas, Nevada, New York, or Ontario.
Well, we are continuing our weekly or our breakdown this week of our PHNX ranks of the top 25 athletes for Arizona sports. And of course, there are still some more Arizona Diamondbacks on this list to be discussed. We broke down 15 through 11, I believe, is where we're up to now.
Yes.
And of course, coming in at number 11 on our list is the one and only Gonzo. Luis Gonzalez, Godzales, if you will. Years in Arizona. He spent
Look at those
8 seasons here.
fucking biceps, dog.
I mean, he was incredible. That season.
That's just pure, clean man.
And he never would have done anything to make those biceps bigger.
Not at all. Not at all. But he does have the most hits in D-backs history. 2001 Silver Slugger, of course. The big thing is he had the hit TM. Do we call
TM,
it
yes.
TM? The hit TM. That won the World Series. So that instantly boosts him up this list. I know that there's a lot of people that tend to act like Gonzo just had one
one
good
moment.
season, one moment,
Yeah.
one hit. And that's absolutely crazy to me. And the reason why is because it's just not true. It's just not true. When you compare his stats to what many would consider to be the greatest offensive player in Arizona Diamondbacks history, you could say they're a bit comparable. So, of course, when I say that, I'm talking about Paul Goldschmidt. We talked about Goldschmidt being on this list as well. Goldschmidt slashed in his career with the Arizona Diamondbacks 297, 398, 532 with a 930 OPS in 8 seasons with the Diamondbacks. Gonzo, 298, 391, 529. Almost identical numbers. So here, I'll give you Goldy's again. Goldy's 297, 398, 532. Gonzo, 298, 391, 529.
Gonzo's a point better in batting average.
Yep.
7 points worse in OBP and
4 points worse.
3 points worse
in slugging percentage. 930 OPS for Goldy.
11 worse than OPS.
919 OPS for Gonzo.
So
I mean,
they're
nearly
basically
identical.
identical, yeah.
Literally identical numbers.
So one has the hit TM.
One has a fucking ring.
Well, and here's the thing. He played, this is wild to me now in today's day and age, is that he played all 162 games for the Arizona Diamondbacks in both the 2000 season and the 2001 season. That is crazy.
I wonder, were there any
all 162 games?
Were there any good outfielders playing baseball around that time? Just in the league?
Yeah.
Not one as good as Gonzo.
No, what I'm saying is there were Barry Bonds, Sammy Sosa, there were guys in the league. So he's just not. He didn't get in that era probably the love he deserved because there were.
He absolutely got overshadowed that season. He hit 57 fucking home runs that season. He absolutely got overshadowed.
And he was on a World Series team with 2 of the greatest pitchers of all time.
Right.
Mo making a great point. That hit was also off the greatest closer of all time.
Yeah, exactly.
So there's that too.
Yeah, no shit. But here's his 2001 season numbers alone.
Yeah.
325, 429, 688 with a 1.17 OPS and 57 home runs.
Mm-hmm.
The fuck out of here.
Yeah.
Like you said, literally any other season you're the MVP. Except during that
era.
During that 5 year.
He was also the only clean player at that time too. It's unreal.
I mean, Mo said that they didn't test for steroids back then, and I don't know why that's relevant. Considering he would have never ever done.
Unlike all the other players that played at the time,
unlike all the Dodgers,
the Diamondbacks were clean. That was a stand. Diamondbacks were and are a stand-up franchise. They would never do something like that unlike the rest of the MLB.
I was alive and rooting for these players during this time. I wasn't small children like you guys, and all I can say is, did they violate a rule? Show me where they did. If not, fuck off with all of that. Right? No?
Plus, we won.
Yeah, we
cry
won.
about it.
Yeah.
Cry about it. One of my favorite quotes of all time is from Jose Canseco, and he was talking about how he could have a twin brother who was, genetically the exact same as him, and he could take all the same steroids, and he would not be a professional baseball player because playing baseball is still that fucking hard.
Yeah,
it doesn't fucking matter. Legalize steroids.
It's a lot of it has to do with the fact, like, let's be honest, like, playing 2 seasons consecutively of 162 games is not easy.
No, especially when you're clean.
That's not an easy thing to do, right? So it's again, it's.
I just couldn't live with a lie like that my entire life. Like, that's one thing that's crazy about players from this era, and I am not directly implying that Gonzo took steroids.
But you could say, let's just say the other players that diminished his season. Let's just say
it's crazy, man. Like the steroid era is something that's different, bro.
It's what you know what it is. What it really is, it's the culmination of baseball not having any kind of drug testing system or any kind of rules or anything, you know, in regards to it, right? Like, it's like you can go on some sort of weird arbitrary honor system, but that's kind of a joke in any industry, I think. And unfortunately that's the way things go, but it doesn't matter.
Could you imagine being clean though at a time like that? Like I can't imagine walking into a clubhouse and seeing literally every one of your teammates and opponents juicing up and being like, "I've got morals."
Yeah, they'd be like, "Look at this narc."
Yeah, fucking fed. Yeah. And then once the list come out, you're like, where'd they get this info from?
Well, and I mean, a lot of it had to do with changes that MLB made around that time, but a lot of it was due to that period of time. I mean, you had people starting to ask really obvious questions about what was going on with the fact that these guys
it was so fucking blatant.
Able to hit 100 home runs.
I didn't mean to turn this conversation about Gonzo into a steroid conversation.
Really did.
He deserves flowers in his own right.
Yeah.
I mean, he has what?
He didn't do it. So fine.
That's what I'm saying. Right. That's why I didn't mean to turn it into a steroid conversation. He has the most iconic moment in the history of Valley sports.
But it's relevant.
Most iconic picture.
What you are saying is, I mean, just in regards to people that had achievements during that era that are impressive and comparatively to modern day baseball and modern day numbers, their numbers are crazy. But back then, they were like the 6th best hitter in baseball, or the 4th best hitter in baseball.
One of two things are true. Either Gonzo was on steroids and still was one of the best players in all of baseball, or he wasn't on steroids and he's one of the greatest players of all time.
Yeah.
There's there's one of two things are true there. So all
I'll say is without him, we as a entire state would be nothing.
And that's the biggest thing is what's the quantifiable impact of winning a city their only major championship, right?
Yeah. It's the one thing
there might be an argument, a case to be made for some of the guys that Gonzo is above that maybe their numbers in their career might have been better in their respective sport, or maybe their numbers.
Or you could even have the Gonzo Kurt Schilling conversation if you want to.
Right. I mean, it's weird. There's a character thing. I mean, again, with Gonzo, there's nothing about his character there, but there might be things that you dislike. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, I wasn't a huge fan of his endorsement of Kerry Lake, for instance.
He's not.
But that, just because of your
piece of shit,
Kurt Schilling. He's not out here saying terrible things that also make me disappointed in him and his. But they're different people, right? Again, just because your political views might align with someone else doesn't mean your moral views align with someone else, right?
The point, right? There is a line there, right? It's not just about they believe something different than I do.
Right, right?
So there is
they're terrible.
Certainly a line there. There's plenty, especially, this is fucking baseball, dude. I'm not going to sit here and pretend that everybody in this league full of fucking Midwestern white guys have the same political views as me. I'm not going that.
That's exactly
obviously,
it.
but there's a difference between having different political views and being a complete piece of shit.
Well, yeah, and I mean literally attacking a group of people. Being anti-transgender, anti-Muslim, and some of the things that Schilling's been. But that's whatever. It doesn't matter.
Goldie's not higher.
Goldy is not higher.
That's 17, I believe.
Yeah. Gonzo is higher. Are you asking why Goldy is lower on the? I think you might mean a higher number. And that's what I was. What we were trying to talk about.
Yeah.
Gonzo is higher because their numbers are extremely comparable, but really at the end of the day, it's the quantifiable impact of winning a city.
Yeah.
They're only major championship.
We would be losers without him.
It is. The ultimate tiebreaker. Like if you have the same stats, the one difference is
which one has a ring?
Not only has a ring, but he has the hit TM to get that ring. Like
it's the hit TM. Yeah. Like I get
I'd rather have the hit than the fucking World Series MVP.
Yeah,
that's more important to me.
Yeah, because that hit is timeless. But Gonzo, I will say, is still just on a personal note a really like stand-up dude. Like
he's so nice.
There's something about Gonzo still being a part of this team and just everything like. Even that Sanderson commercial is hilarious to us.
It's
it's
not because of him.
It's almost funny again.
Hey Gonzo, your D-backs have been real good recently. No, they haven't.
Yeah, not
Mr. Sanderson
series.
Ford, dude.
Not series, but Benjamin Hunley said Womack had a better hit that inning than Gonzo. Did he though?
But it wasn't the one.
It wasn't the one that won the World Series.
Yeah,
but I get what you're saying though, and there's a lot of importance in that series. But Gonzo again was a big reason why they got there. And again, his numbers that year: 325, 429, 688, 1.117 OPS, 57 home runs. He is good. And Cypher, I agree with you. He says always great when Gonzo joins the booth. I like what
he's
Gonzo
the kind of
brings.
person that I think is good. He's a good person to have as a part of the organization too. And I think again, as we kind of talked about, for a very different reason with the Curt Schilling thing, like it's very difficult to really kind of get everyone to be approaching setting up this ranking in the same way, right? Like it's hard to know how people are going to measure the impact he has, and his impact is massive. Like he continues to have an impact, and he's one of those guys. Like I love RJ, but RJ is not like. He's not present as in the way that like Gonzo is. Like Gonzo, in so many ways, is like the face of the organization.
Yeah.
And so like that's important for organizations to have.
Yeah.
And so it is awesome. Like his impact even past after his playing days, I think is notable. And even if he didn't have a ring, I think would give him the edge over a guy like Paul Goldschmidt.
Best player in D-backs history other than Randy? Probably.
You think he's better than Curt Schilling?
I mean, honestly, that's a great discussion we had, and I still think your point was the best point. You said it beforehand. You said it on the show yesterday. Really, what it comes down to is if you're actually basing Curt Schilling on his performance, he should be much higher on this list. If you're basing it on him as a human being and some of the things that you might disagree with that he said, he doesn't deserve to be on this list at all. But the weird kind of like trade-off of him being like 20 does seem kind of weird, or wherever he was at. Was it 20, 21, I think, something like that. But like, I mean, that just seems kind of like a compromise based on his performance and his character.
Curt Schilling is a better player overall, but as a Diamondback, it's easy to say that Gonzo was a better Diamondback. He had a much longer career with the Diamondbacks, and I think it was more sustained with the D-backs. So I think it's fair to put him above Schilling on the overall list.
Maria says, guys, how do you feel about Urias? Well, he's been very good against the Arizona Diamondbacks. I know that. She says he's a Boris client. He's definitely not signing with the Dodgers next year. That's because they will be signing Shohei Ohtani, I imagine. Do you guys think the D-backs would throw him an offer? No, I don't. I don't think the Diamondbacks can afford to throw anybody a high price offer. And Julio Urias, it's kind of like what I was feeling about.
Wait, they were about to throw a high price offer to Xander Bogaerts last year. It's ready, bro. He's about to open them up.
I hope so. I hope I'm wrong about that. But I'll tell you, we thank you guys again for being here in the PHNX Sports YouTube channel. Of course, if you haven't signed up for PHNX Die Hard membership yet, we have a few hours left on our incredible sale right now. You can get $20, $25 off, I believe, of the normal price, or maybe it's just $20, but $60 right now. Let me stop confusing you with all these other numbers. $60 for a Die Hard membership.
Normally,
that gets you normally
$80.
That gets you not only access to all of our content here at PHNX Sports. That gets you a free piece of merchandise, including our brand new shirt from the PHNXLocker.com. That includes all sorts of other wonderful benefits, including a $50 gift certificate from Mountain Mike's Pizza. You get yourself a Dobson Ranch card, and so much more. This is absolutely the best price we've ever had on a Die Hard membership.
We do not do deals on Die Hard. It's the first time it's ever happened.
Yeah, it's literally the first time.
I don't know that we're going to do it again anytime soon. So.
And it makes a great gift. If you already have a Die Hard membership, you know somebody else in your life that would like this, $60, they're going to get that
do your
shirt.
Christmas shopping now.
keep the shirt for yourself. They don't ever have to know about the shirt, right?
True.
They don't even have to know the shirt exists. Just give them the Die Hard
Yeah.
membership. What, you keep all the benefits yourself, whatever, it doesn't matter. But join us today over at gophnx.com. All sorts of wonderful things. And of course, there's only a few hours left on that. So if you're watching this show, chances are by this time tomorrow, when other shows are on, that deal is going to be gone. So make sure you jump on that tonight. Also, check out our friends at Pins and Aces. They make the best golf apparel around. They are our official golf apparel partner, PHNX and ALLCITY. But as I say, these shirts are not just for the golf course. They are for everywhere. They are comfortable. They're stretchy. They're light. They have wonderful patterns. And you can check out the full catalog of things they have to offer over at pinsandaces.com. They have hats. They have golf bags. And, of course, don't miss out on the beer sleeves. I also really enjoy their little ball markers. I have I have a Happy Gilmore one that matches my shirt I was wearing yesterday. Fantastic. But family-owned golf and apparel business, fantastic people. Check them out over at pinsandaces.com and use code PHNX to receive 15% off your first order, and you will get free shipping. That's pinsandaces.com. Last, of course.
Oh, hold on. I really like what two Minican is talking about here.
Yeah, the Dodgers are stealing signs.
We can get it in a second. I cut you off there. I'm sorry.
No, that's fine. That's fine. I'll tell you, after seeing Brent Strom be so confident about that with Ryan Nelson tipping his pitches, I would not be surprised about that. And honestly, I still don't know how to feel about stealing signs. Like, unless you're using cameras or some sort of advanced technology.
They've got cameras in center field.
Yeah, well, I don't know. That would explain why we lose all the time at Dodger Stadium.
There has to be something going on, right?
Yeah. There has to be. Lance Lynn has a sub-2 ERA. Get the fuck out of here. Get out of here, bro. What are you guys hiding? What do you have to hide out there?
They've got the secret serum or something.
Yeah, they have the super soldier serum.
Yeah.
For sure.
Oh, man, I'm fired up now. I was ready just to let this series slide, but I want a full-on investigation into this. The way they investigated that NBA ref's burner account and then made him retire.
They forced him into retirement.
Yeah, that's what I want. Maybe we can get a couple of Dodgers players to retire. But in the meantime, I'm going to fill up at Circle K. I'm going to fuel up there as well because of their brand new membership program, The Inner Circle. I would sing Judas, but again, that's probably going to get us DMCA'd. But right now, you can join the Inner Circle and you will save 25 cents per gallon on your first 5 fill-ups. Gas is expensive, folks. You don't need me telling you that. So, of course, this is a great time to get any kind of discount you can on gas. And, of course, Circle K already has some pretty low gas prices, so you can save 25 cents per gallon on your first 5 fill-ups. You'll also get buy 5, get your 6th free on selection of Circle K products such as pizza, coffee, and ice cold fountain drinks. So join the Inner Circle for free right now by downloading the Circle K app. Terms and conditions apply at participating locations. Visit CircleK.com for details.
I think they got buzzers in the pants.
At Circle K?
No.
Oh, the Dodgers.
The Dodgers. I think they got buzzers in their pants. You never have to, because that's the one thing I'll say about like the buzzer thing with the Astros. There's no way they're that stupid. There's no way you're putting a buzzer on and then ever ripping somebody else's jersey off in that situation. But you're never got to worry about your pants coming off in a baseball game with the buzzer in your pants.
Yeah, no, that's pretty fair. That's pretty fair.
They got to be doing something dumb.
And I don't like this, but Maria, we don't want to lose you. We're just joking, Maria. Please don't go away. But I do want to take a look.
Don't take a damn thing I say seriously ever. If you ever get hurt by something I say, the joke is entirely on you.
It's somehow how he gets away with it. He can't keep getting away with it, but it's how he gets away with it. Because
do I think the Dodgers are cheating?
Nothing is serious.
Of course I don't think the Dodgers are cheating, Maria.
Wink.
I don't think they're cheating at all.
Oh, don't do
I would
that.
never accuse an MLB team of cheating without any credible evidence. I would
say
never
this.
do something like that.
Now that the Dodgers series is passed, things don't get too much better for the Diamondbacks because they run into probably the other best team right now in baseball.
It can't get worse.
In the Baltimore Orioles. It absolutely can get worse. Let's take a look at the probables for that series with the Orioles because, not great with Zach Davies and Slade Ciccone. I forgot. We're going with Ciccone now. Slade Ciccone. Slade Ciccone going in game 2. Zach Gallen going in game 3. At least it's at home. So we have that against Jack Flaherty.
Why do I kind of almost feel good about this?
Because the starting pitching for the Baltimore Orioles, it doesn't look too great. And we know that Zach Davies somehow is a wild card.
Sometimes good.
He's sometimes good for this team.
Every once in a while, he turns in a good outing. And then, I'm not betting on. You're a fool to bet on 2 straight bad Zach Gallen outings. So yeah, I mean, I think the big question mark is. I mean, no, the big question mark is always Zach Davies, but obviously Slade is just newer here. So
yeah, and how much does the Davies and Ciccone starts both turn into essentially perhaps maybe like a bullpen start or like a 4-inning, 5-inning game? Sure. Right now, we know the bullpen has been fairly taxed by this series against the Dodgers. Luckily, they do have an off day tomorrow before starting this series on Friday. And honestly, hey, I'm with Kyle. I'm not disrespecting Slade.
No disrespect to Slade at all.
No disrespect. Slade has been a welcome addition.
You're not going to find me disrespecting really any outside of Zach Davies, anybody on this starting pitching staff at this point. Like, they've all been good more or less, and the ones that have been bad are the guys that are good. Like, your bad start, you got your bad Gallen and Merrill start. Like, I'm never going to be worried about them unless that becomes the regular.
Well,
right?
and the wildest thing about this series loss to the Dodgers really is the fact that the starting pitching was the key in that last series win over the Reds, and their starting pitching was so phenomenal. And then you get the starting pitching in this series against the Dodgers. It's atrocious, and it lines up in the way that you would want it to line up against the Dodgers. You got Zach Gallen, Merrill Kelly, and Brandon Pfaadt. You couldn't have asked for a better trio as far as, you know, who you wanted to face the Dodgers, and it went completely differently. I mean, honestly, I'm not going to entertain any ideas about like sign stealing or pitch tipping.
I mean, that was
but I will say that if that were to come out tomorrow, it would not surprise me in the least with the way these 3 games have gone.
I mean, no, it would certainly.
Because it fucking felt like the Dodgers knew what was coming on every pitch.
That would feel great.
It would be vindicating.
That would feel great. By no means do I think really that they are cheating. I have no reason to actually believe that. If I actually thought that, it would just be because I'm a hater.
Right.
But like, oh boy, would I love it if they were. Would I love it? Oh my, man. I would relish it.
Oh, thank God for an explanation. But
the worst part is they'd still win the World Series and Major League Baseball wouldn't do anything about it.
Yeah, that's true. The Diamondbacks do have, again, very little reprieve, but they do have a little bit after this Baltimore Orioles series. They have 3 with the Rockies. No offense to you, Susie, tip of the cap. And then they travel to Wrigley Field for 4 with the Cubs, and then they go to New York for 4 with the Mets. So, I mean, it's they have a series with the Rockies left. They have the series with the poverty franchise known as the Yankees and the White Sox, right? But outside of that, it feels like every series left is going to be difficult and is going to be important. You know, I mean, maybe the Mets give up by that time they have that 4-game series and it goes much differently than it went last time.
Are there any good pinstripe teams in baseball right now?
I
mean, the Phillies.
Phillies wear pinstripes?
Yeah,
they do. Yeah,
and then Twins were
the Cubs.
Oh yeah, of course,
Cubs.
Of course,
Cubs.
I was thinking
games
like
against still.
Phillies
Mets,
and Cubs.
Yankees, Padres all suck.
Yep.
And the Twins wear stripes sometimes, don't they?
Yeah. John in the chat says exactly what I tried to echo earlier. I'm with you, John. He said sign stealing is perfectly legit. It's true.
Sign stealing is perfectly legit. Yeah, as long as you're not using any kind of technology. Like if they're tipping their pitches. Yeah, absolutely. Like just I understand why people get mad about it, but at the same time, it's like don't.
Go back up to Mo. Go back up to Mo's comment really fast. Mo said D-backs should start playing with roof open all the time to create a home field advantage. Sure, some players and fans may die of heat exhaustion, but that home field advantage would be awesome. Hell yeah, Mo.
That's why we play.
Hell yeah.
That's why the Sun Devils play outside, that's why the Bills aren't putting a roof on their new stadium.
We play for rings in the desert.
Yeah,
that's what we do. Well, speaking of rings in the desert, Jesse Friedman, our own champion reporter, is here joining us. Jesse, I imagine the mood isn't great after the Diamondbacks absolutely got just slaughtered in this series against the Dodgers.
Yeah, I think slaughtered is the right word. I think, right, the Diamondbacks in that Monday game, they took a 4-3 lead in the top of the 4th inning, and after that, the Dodgers scored 4 runs that were unanswered the rest of the way in that game. They of course won yesterday's game by a final score of 9-1 and then 7-0 here today. You add all that up, I think it's 20-1 that the Diamondbacks were outscored after the 4th inning in Monday's game. It was brutal. I mean, it was an absolutely uncompetitive series, frankly, between these two teams. And yeah, you're right. The mood was not particularly was not particularly great in the clubhouse just now. We spoke with Brandon Pfaadt about his outing. We spoke with Christian Walker as well about the Diamondbacks' hitting efforts in this series. And Walker in particular, you could just tell, was just very much not happy with the way that the Diamondbacks played in this series. He seemed pretty fired up about just the way that things transpired here, and said, that the focus was there, and the Dodgers are a good team, but also the Diamondbacks have to be better. Was he
upset about how the team was playing, or upset because he was beefing with home plate umpire?
Was he still looking for Alex Tosi?
We didn't talk to him about any calls in particular, but I imagine that might have played a role in his mood on some level. I mean, I probably would have for me if I were in his shoes. But yeah, this was about as bad of an outcome, frankly, as you could have had in this series. And as we talked about yesterday, you didn't need to come in here and sweep the Dodgers or even take 2 out of 3 necessarily, but you would have liked to win one game in this series. You would have liked to even just have these games be closer, be more competitive. This is the kind of series that you have to wonder, does this make the Diamondbacks look in the mirror and suddenly think that maybe they're not all that they thought they were, right? After going on the run that they went through and bouncing back the way that they did, this is the kind of series that sort of puts you in your place. And they don't have to beat the Dodgers. They don't have to have a better record than the Dodgers to just make it to the playoffs, but it is a bit of a reality check of where they stand in relation to some of the best teams in the league.
The Diamondbacks may have lost the battle, but Jesse, will they win the waiver wire war when it comes to perhaps getting some reinforcements from some of these other teams that are just completely having, I don't even want to call it a fire sale. It's just like abandoning ship. Hunter Renfroe is just hitting out of his mind right now. I'd love to have him on this team right now.
They've had multiple guys hit home runs since they got placed on waivers.
It's crazy what's going on over there in Los Angeles. But not just those players from the Angels. There's a lot of quality players that are going to be available on Thursday. So I know you have a new piece coming to gophnx.com about who makes the most sense for the D-backs. Maybe you could fill us in a little bit on who they might target, or at least who it might make sense to target.
Yeah. So first of all, the order of things, that's a really big factor here. As we talked about in yesterday's show, it is primarily determined by record. It's in reverse order of record. So for any particular player, Lucas Giolito, whoever you want to highlight, of all the teams that place a claim on that player, it's going to be the team with the worst record that gets the player. The thing that is still a little bit unclear at this point, at least for me personally, I haven't been able to confirm this, is what happens in the event of a tie. Most outlets seem to say that it simply goes back to your record last season, in which case, the reason I bring this up is the Diamondbacks have the same record as both the Boston Red Sox and the Minnesota Twins, 2 teams who are also contending, or at least in the mix enough where they would be. The Twins are leading their division. They're certainly contending. The Red Sox, I guess, are maybe close enough at this point to where they could be interested in adding some of these players. But yeah, the D-backs have the exact same record as those teams. And if indeed the tiebreaker is simply look at last year's record and compare there, the Diamondbacks had a worse record than both of those teams and would have waiver priority over both of them. But what MLB Trade Rumors has said on this topic is that it depends on the league. So if the Diamondbacks were trying to claim a player from the American League, the AL teams would actually take priority in that situation. And record would be would sort of just factor in as kind of setting that up, because those 3 teams have the same record. It's a confusing situation, all that to say. But what MLB Trade Rumors has said is if any teams have the same record, it depends on the league which teams would have priority. So still working to see if we can find an answer there. But we do know the Diamondbacks, they fell below the Giants in the standings with this loss, so they will have waiver priority over the Giants for sure.
But they do not against the Reds and the Miami Marlins. And of course, the one thing here is that the teams that aren't in contention aren't going to really make any of these moves, and the teams that are in contention can't necessarily scoop up all the players. Well, they can, but they're most likely not going to. So realistically, it might come down to players available that another team with a higher waiver priority pick up. But I mean, who else do you see being on the Diamondbacks radar? And I ask you this because I want to know how awkward inevitable Bob Brenly, Mike Clevenger meeting in the clubhouse is going to possibly be.
Yeah, that is a factor here for sure. So yeah, I just wrote a story about this. It is on our website right now. You can check it out. But I'll go ahead and lay out the names that I talked about there. There are 5 guys that are on waivers that I think make sense on some level for the Diamondbacks. It's not necessarily to say they're going to place claims on all these guys. We talked about the ramifications of that yesterday and how you have to be prepared to pay all the salaries. You have to be prepared to make 5 rosters moves if you're gonna place 5 claims. But yeah, there are guys that I think do make sense for the Diamondbacks here. Of course, the 2 relievers from the Angels are in there, Matt Moore and Reynaldo Lopez. Those would be, in my estimation, pretty much no-brainer moves for the Diamondbacks to at least place claims on those guys and see what happens. Matt Moore has a 2.38 ERA on the season, would instantly become one of the D-backs' 3 best relievers alongside Paul Sewald and Kevin Ginkel. He's a lefty. He has significant reverse splits. So the D-backs kind of have this issue right now where, like, late in the game, if they needed to get a good left-handed hitter out, I'm not exactly sure who they would go to. Matt Moore, unfortunately, does not really solve that problem because left-handed hitters have like an 850 OPS against him this season, despite the fact that he's a left-handed pitcher. But righties have really struggled. Righties have like a 500 OPS. So Matt Moore would be a slam dunk get if they could make that happen. Reynaldo Lopez has a 3.86 ERA on the season, the highest strikeout rate of his career. He's not an elite back-end reliever. He's probably a step below Matt Moore, but still a guy who would absolutely be meaningful for this Diamondbacks team. The biggest name is probably Lucas Giolito. I'm sure a lot of people have been fixated on that name. Sure. I think that probably makes sense for the Diamondbacks as well. He had a 6.89 ERA in 6 starts after being traded to the Angels, which is not at all good. There are some red flags there. He gave up, I believe 10 home runs in 32 1/3 innings during his time with the Angels, which is
that sounds like a problem
ideal.
that could be solved by the Arizona Diamondbacks.
Give him to Brent Strom. He'll fix him.
There you go. But yeah, there's not as much assurance there as you would like, but at the same time, is Lucas Giolito better than some other pitchers, in this rotation or in this bullpen? I think you'd probably have to say yes. You'd probably buy a guy like that bouncing back on some level the rest of the way. So I think that makes some sense for the Diamondbacks as well. You mentioned Mike Clevenger. There is, yes, a history between him and Diamondbacks color analyst Bob Brenly. There was a comment that Bob made on the broadcast. I believe it was last June. Mike Clevenger was not too happy about it. It turned into this whole thing. Clevenger was also accused of a domestic abuse situation earlier this year. MLB decided that there was no penalty on their part for that, but obviously there's still, there's some baggage with Mike Clevenger for sure. There's no getting around that. The other factor with Clevenger is that he has a $12 million mutual option for next season. So all of these other guys on the list, they're only under contract through the remainder of this year. So, you pick them up, you're paying their salary the rest of the way, but there's no ramifications for next season whatsoever. With Clevenger, you have this mutual option for next season where if you don't want to hold up your side of that mutual option, then you're stuck with a $4 million buyout. And that's pretty expensive to pay Clevenger $2 million for the rest of this year, plus a $4 million buyout to have him go somewhere else and pitch somewhere else next year. That's $6 million for about a month. I don't know if I see that one happen.
But I don't understand that because the Diamondbacks really don't seem to have any, in my opinion, and maybe it's just my opinion, they don't seem to have very many options starting pitching going forward, right? So it's like, I don't know if paying Mike Clevenger $12 million next year is the worst thing ever if he could be a competitive pitcher, but based like what you said, based on Lucas Giolito's numbers and some of Clevenger's numbers from this year, I don't know. Maybe the Diamondbacks do have better options. Maybe those options are already within their organization. But speaking of options within the organization, the Diamondbacks still may call up one Jordan Lawlar, and you have an update in regards to that transaction that he might. If he does get called up, he would still be able to appear on the postseason roster if it's not by tomorrow.
Yeah. So, some clarification on this point is something we talked about on the show before. Officially, Major League Baseball has a rule where you have to be on the roster by August 31st at midnight in order to be postseason eligible. However, there is an exception clause for replacing an injured player. So if you get into the postseason and you have someone get hurt, then
okay.
you can use a player who's in your organization and throw them in there as well. Now, when we talked about this originally,
Nick Ahmed ghost injury incoming.
I was about to say,
Nick Ahmed phantom injury incoming.
David, take care of him.
I was literally about to say Nick Ahmed's leg is like hurt. We just need him gone.
Lower body soreness, nondescript.
Yeah.
The weird thing here, though, is that and that's what we talked about the other day. Is like, well, you're not going to like assume that an injury is going to happen. If you want Jordan Lawlar postseason eligible, you're going to make sure that Jordan Lawlar is postseason eligible. But what I've since discovered is that teams can basically use any player that's been injured even the whole season, and they can say, oh, this is an injury replacement for, say, Mark Melancon, who has been on the 60-day IL basically the entire year. The D-backs could use that. They could use the injury replacement clause even with a guy who like clearly would not be an option to put on the postseason roster anyway. So all that to say, if the D-backs called up Jordan Lawlar on September 15th, they could still have him on the postseason roster.
Yoshi in the chat coming in hot. I don't want Nick Ahmed to be hurt. I'm saying we lie about him being hurt. We pretend he's hurt. I don't want him.
Yoshi, wink. Come on. You don't have to say it out loud.
Jeez.
Mo's asking if Jordan Lawlar is Jerry Lawlar's son. No, Mo, that is Grandmaster Sexay, and you know that. Jesse, you did have a clip here from Torey after tonight's game in regards to this series, and I guess whatever they do, they're going to need some reinforcements from somewhere, whether it's from their minor league system or from the waiver wire, in order for them to be able to compete with this Dodgers team that beat them so thoroughly. But Torey discussed some of the factors that may have been at play in this series loss.
Not enough to make us play the way we did. We got to play better baseball. The Dodgers are good. I want to be respectful of every opponent, but I think we were 5-7 against the Dodgers this year, and look, that's improvements. Those are improvements over the past couple of years, but it's not where I want to end up. We got to be better against this team in particular, especially in this venue.
Todd really tried to ruin
Get
your
out of
shot
the way,
there,
Todd.
huh?
What are we doing here?
To be fair, I mean, it's kind of part of Todd's job to like stand right there with the microphone.
That's fine. We'll forgive him.
Yeah. The question that was asked here was, how much of this series do you attribute to, the stadium, the opponent, the stage, those kinds of things? And as you heard there, Torey's answer was, not enough for it to look like this. That's certainly, those things are factors to some extent, but the Diamondbacks just got destroyed in this series. And, you think back to their other series at Dodger Stadium this year, the only other one, there's only two with this new schedule that we got here. And it was the first series of the year. The Diamondbacks opened the season with a 4-game set here at Dodger Stadium, and they split that series. But if I remember correctly, the run differential was not pretty. I think they were minus 18 or something in that series. D-backs have allowed a lot of runs compared to how many they've scored in the games they've played at this ballpark this year, and it just continues a trend from recent years. I mean, over the last 5 seasons, the D-backs are 7-40 against the Dodgers in this ballpark, something like that. I don't have it in front of me, but it's been ugly, and it certainly continued to be here over the last few days.
Well, we do have the wild card standings for the whatever we want to look at here. I don't like this one bit, but of course, the Diamondbacks actually do have technically a productive loss here, because with the Giants winning, or the Giants losing right to the Reds, but the Diamondbacks also losing, they stayed a half a game behind the Giants. If the Diamondbacks would have won this game, they'd be half a game up, and the Giants would be one more team in their way of potentially improving their team with some of these players available on the waivers. So, I mean,
these are the teams I want in the playoffs. Obviously, swapping the D-backs for the Giants. Like, as a baseball fan, I want to see the Cubs and the Phillies. Screw the Reds and screw the Marlins. I don't want to see you. You're not fun. Who cares? I want to see Cody Bellinger and maybe the best shortstop in baseball, Dansby Swanson. Shout out. and the electric factory that is Bryce Harper and the Phillies. I want to see them and the electric factory that is the Arizona Diamondbacks.
Yeah, I'm with it.
I wish the Brewers didn't have to be in the playoffs.
They might not be.
They feel so boring, right?
They might not be.
They're just so Milwaukee, dude. Like who?
After driving,
their pitching staff is pretty. Their pitching staff would be frightening in like a. I mean, as things stand right now, if you finish with the third wild card spot, you're facing the Brewers in Milwaukee in a 3-game series in the wild card round. I don't know if that's a matchup you want. I mean, you're looking at Corbin
better than any other ones, in my
Woodruff, Freddie
opinion.
Peralta. I guess. I mean, I don't know. Would you? If I were the Diamondbacks, I would maybe want the Cubs more in a
fair.
in a 3-game series than I would want the Brewers. It really comes down to pitching, right? It's like who are the 3 pitchers? Who are the 3 starting pitchers that you have in the series? You're not going to find much better than Corbin Burnes, Brandon Woodruff, Freddie Peralta, and the Brewers bullpen, which is consistently one of the best in all of baseball. That's pretty rough over a short series.
Being a good pitching team is the most boring way to be good, too. Like, that's the most, of course, they're good.
I don't disagree.
So annoying. So boring. Jesse, do you have any updates on the probables for the upcoming series against the Baltimore Orioles? We listed our probables, but we didn't know if there was a change.
Yeah, I'm going to guess that whatever you guys had is probably what it's going to be. Torey is just keeping things in the set order.
We have Davies, Ciccone, and Gallen.
There you go. That's it.
Yep.
Davies, Ciccone, Gallen. We did wonder if the Diamondbacks were going to make a change on this front because Torey talked about a week ago about how they were going to go full throttle with Zach Gallen and Merrill Kelly the rest of the way and try to pitch those guys on 4 days rest every time. Torey said that they will be doing some of that, but I think at the time he said there's like 1 extra day in there. Presumably this is that. So the D-backs they're not using that strategy now, but it kind of seems like they're going to use that strategy the rest of the way. Obviously they're coming into a span of, 17 games in 17 days. So they're not even going to have an opportunity to use that strategy here for a while because they don't have any off days for forever. But yeah, interesting that the D-backs decided to do this. Torey made a comment about, if you kind of play this out through the end of the season, you'll understand where we're going with this. So I'll have to do some digging on that, but I'm sure it kind of lines up the way they want it.
He did that with a little bit of a wink, and he kept telling us like, if you keep, if you look at the schedule, it plays out, and you'll figure it out. You guys are smart, But Jesse, get home safe. We will be back here. No show on Friday because we are going to recap this Baltimore Orioles series on Sunday. So Jesse and I will be back to recap that on Sunday. Me and this maniac will be back tomorrow with a very special guest, Mike Farron from Sirius XM and from the MLB network show over there. So Jesse's sad to be missing out on Mike Farron because I believe he's going to be traveling during our show, but Jesse will be back with us this weekend. So watch out for boulders, watch out for hurricanes, and drink plenty of water.
I will say about tomorrow's show, I don't know how I'm going to do it because I'm not really going to be in a place that is internet tomorrow. But tomorrow is going to be potentially a pretty big day for this Diamondbacks team. From what I've seen, it looks like the waiver decisions are probably going to come down at 1 p.m. Eastern time, which would be 10 a.m. Arizona time. I don't know if we're necessarily going to get announcements at that point in the day, but that's when the process will officially happen. So tomorrow is going to be a big day, and I don't know if I can find a way to be on the show. I don't know how it's going to work, but we're going to see if we can.
If we have to get you in the middle of the goddamn desert between here and Los Angeles, Jesse,
we can make it work.
Yeah, pull over in Blythe or Indio or one of those places, and we'll figure it out.
I wouldn't wish that on my worst enemy.
There's a great place to get a dates shake on the way back. Get a dates shake and call us from there, and we'll arrange it.
Indio is underrated. Indio gets way too much hate, It
really does. It really does. It's because we don't want to be there. We want to be in LA. We don't want to be anywhere in between here and LA. We just want to instantly be there. But Jesse, we appreciate you. We'll see you tomorrow, hopefully. I hope I'm going to be just a wreck until I find out that you're back here safely. But I hope we see you on tomorrow's show because, like you said, there's some big news coming down the pipe.
Could you imagine if the D-backs make like 3 new, like if they get three guys tomorrow.
Could you imagine if we wake up tomorrow and Lucas Giolito
is an Arizona
or
Diamondback?
Mike Clevenger
my
or
God.
Arizona Diamondbacks, and we're just like, I didn't see that one coming.
Stop it. I don't know if I'm gonna get any sleep tonight between thinking of that and worrying about Jesse. But all right, buddy, we'll see you tomorrow.
All right, sounds good. See you guys.
And I know Jesse has. I hope I didn't check with him if he lost his Shady Rays or if he still has them, because.
Well, I mean,
at least if he's wearing a premium pair of polarized sunglasses on his way back from Los Angeles, I can feel a little bit more confident.
it almost doesn't even matter if he lost them because he doesn't replace.
Yeah, you can't replace him because, as you know, Shady Rays has the craziest lost and broken replacement plan in all of eyewear. If you lose or break your pair of Shady Rays sunglasses, even on day one, they told us they will send you out a brand new pair, no questions asked. No judgment, no white wig coming on with the gavel. They're not going to do any of that. They're just going to send you out a brand new pair. Also, if you order your pair of Shady Rays online or if you get them from their Kierland Commons location and you do not absolutely love those pair of sunglasses, you can either exchange them for a new pair or return them for free within 30 days. There's no risk when you shop, no questions asked. They are absolutely an independent premium sunglass company with a world-class product that's just as good as the expensive sunglasses. And exclusively for our listeners, Shady Rays is giving out their best deal of the season. Go to shadyrays.com and use code PHNX for 50% off 2 or more pairs of polarized sunglasses. Try for yourself the shades rated 5 stars by over 250,000 people. And I do want to give a big thanks to Four Peaks for making this delicious nectar of the gods known as Hop Nut IPA.
I feel like I've been seeing you drink a lot of those. You kind of been on that Hop Nut wave.
I really love Hop Nut IPAs. I really do. But there's also a lot of beers I love of Four Peaks. And of course, do you have a particular favorite yourself?
Oh, I mean, it does depend on the setting, but Golden Lager.
Golden Lager?
Desert Day Drinker, though, if you get an opportunity to try it. I think it's one of the more slept on.
Golden, I believe that's the beer Damon said is the perfect baseball beer.
It's the color,
right?
It's the perfect clear golden. It's a golden lager.
Color you need.
Yes,
for a baseball
it's golden.
It's like
a lager.
It's like a commercial.
It's the perfect.
It's odd. And you can get that, by the way, at the Four Peaks Draft Room, which was where we will be meeting up on September 5th for our takeover event. It is going to be our last takeover of the year. And I just wanted to stop and thank you guys so much for coming out this year. Whether you came out one time, whether you've come out to all of them, you guys have been incredible. I really adore the baseball crew that we have somewhat created. Like, absolutely. Those of you, and you know who you are, that show up to all of them, you're beloved by us, and we can't thank you enough for the support. But most importantly, how much fun we've had watching baseball with you guys. I mean, this job, I know it's fun, but it can tend to be a job. And I think the takeover days are those one days that remind me of how much I love baseball. Just hanging out with you guys.
We literally just get to go. Not often that we get to go and just go to a baseball game.
Yeah, and go drink beers, hang out,
and go be a baseball game.
Talk shit, talk about Dick Mountain, do Dick Mountain chants.
Take the credential off and yell at players.
That's right. So make sure to join us for the last one. And of course, it's not the end. We're going to have so many more next year, probably even more than we had this year. But and maybe we get something special going on if a playoff game happens at Chase Field. I don't know. I'm getting ahead of myself, but
you need to get there first.
You can keep up with everything at Four Peaks at their fourpeaks.com/events to stay up to date on everything they have going on. And of course, you can follow them on social media at Four Peaks Brew or at Four Peaks Pub to keep up with the latest at Arizona's hometown brewery. Must be 21 or older to drink Four Peaks, and please drink responsibly. Well, that's all we got, guys, until tomorrow, where we might have some very exciting news. So make sure to join us for that 1 p.m. show tomorrow. Mike Farron will be joining us, so I can't wait for that. And in the meantime, you can follow us on Twitter. I am at cap_caveman with a K. This absolute ball of electricity is at Shawn_DePaz. The maniac behind the Mac over there, that is Damon. We are Damon's dogs. And of course, you can follow him at Damon Dog. That's DAWG. All roads lead to at PHNX_sports on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. We also have our show account at PHNX_D-backs. So make sure to follow us in all of those locations. And again, we appreciate you guys so much for stopping by. Whether you're a Diamondbacks fan, whether you're a Dodgers fan, even Mo, we love all of you. We thank you guys for stopping by. We appreciate your time. And remember, kids, baseball is fun, but it is so much more fun when you can actually hang with the Dodgers.